Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review of the GT Boxing Black Ops boxing gloves. So stay tuned. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here. Today I'm doing a review on the GT Boxing Black Ops boxing gloves. They come in this black and white colorway. I got mine in 16 ounces. It is a lace-up only model. You can also get this glove in 8 or 10 ounces, which is essentially the fight glove version of this model. The big difference being that those utilize a foam and horsehair padding, where this training version that I have here utilizes layered foam padding. The exterior of the glove utilizes a European leather with a tri-cut liner on the inside of the hand compartment that's very smooth and comfortable. You'll also notice that it does have the 16-ounce weight tag that is stitched into the bottom of the piping, and layered foam padding over the knuckles that I say is medium in firmness and about 1.75 inches in total thickness. So this is a glove that definitely has a little bit more of a streamlined compact build for those of you that prefer a little bit more of a compact glove. And the gloves are manufactured in Pakistan. Now in terms of design, I think they did a really good job in terms of aesthetics with the all black and white colorway. You do have the GT Boxing logo in white, as well as the white at the base of the thumb piping, but the rest of the glove is all black. The leather on here, they say it's a European leather. To me, it has a little bit more of a satin finish to it. To be honest with you, I feel like this leather is pretty comparable to some of the other gloves I've seen come from Pakistan in terms of the grade of the leather, how thick it feels, and just the overall texture of the leather. So to me, it's kind of comparable to the leather you would see from like Top Boxer and some of the other Pakistan-made brands. The other thing that is kind of cool about this glove is that it has its own, I guess you can say, model designation. So when you go onto the GT Boxing website, you'll notice that they have different models, but they all have like their own different names to the models. And in this case, this is the Black Ops line. They also have, these green gloves, and I forgot what the name is. Let me look it up real quick and I can tell you. But they have like Sacred Stitched, which is kind of a popular one where it's the glove and then it has like all these different crosses at the bottom. Wonkas, Fat Bears, Broken Bodish, which I believe is a custom like collaboration glove that they did with boxer Danny Bodish, who trains out of Coach Tommy Ankello's gym in Pennsylvania. So they have really cool, I think, names for the different models, and they also do have custom options if you want to go that way, if you want to choose your own color. So I did think that's pretty cool when it comes to that. But again, you have the GT Boxing logo. You do have a flat cuff on the back of the wrist support. You're looking at about, I'd say, 1 inch or maybe a little over 1 inch of firm density foam padding. It feels like EVA with a softer foam pad that rests up against your skin on the inside of the wrist support. The inner portion of the wrist support, you're looking at probably about 1/2 inch medium density foam on both sides. Right there, you do have flat poly cotton blend laces with plastic tips at the end. I think the laces are a good length. They're not too short and they're not too long where you feel like it's kind of annoying having to wrap it a million times to get your wrist locked in. It does have GT Boxing right here in white and red. You also have the American flag because GT Boxing is an American brand. Again, the white piping at the base of the thumb, ventilated holes below the grip bar. I believe the grip bar, in my opinion, has medium density and medium firmness. I definitely think that's an opportunity. And you also have the leather attached thumb, ventilated holes on the inner portion of the thumb right there. But you guys can see for yourself a little bit more of a shinier satin finish with the gloves. Overall, aesthetically, I think they look really clean. And for those of you that really like, black and white colorway when it comes to a pair of boxing gloves, I definitely think you would enjoy these gloves when it comes to this design scheme. Okay, let's talk about quality. First things first, when it comes to weight, these are advertised as a 16-ounce glove. When I put them on the scale, both gloves came in at 15.6 ounces. So they're a little underweight, but not by much. And the good thing is that both gloves are the same exact weight as each other. So that tells me that before these are going out and being shipped off to whoever the new owner is going to be, that they're actually putting these gloves on the scale to make sure that they're the exact same weight. Now, it would be nice if they're exactly on point at 16 ounces, but they're not too far off weight, which is not a huge issue to me. And again, both gloves are the same weight. I would be more concerned if like the left glove was at 14.7 and the right glove was at 15.6. To me, that would be a pretty large discrepancy when it comes to weight, especially between the two gloves. So in terms of weight, they did definitely hit it on point. Again, the leather quality on here is really nice and solid, pretty standard par for a lot of other Pakistan gloves. And the stitching is done very nicely as well. As usual, I'll kind of put it up close to the camera so you guys can see it for yourself. So leather quality is nice. Stitching is all done very well. Leather attached thumb is done really well. Logos, you can see that for yourself. The palm, all done very nicely. And I'll show you the right glove as well. No exposed foam or on the inside of the liner in the hand compartment, so that feels good as well. But all the stitching is done very nicely. You can see the palm looks really good. Again, I feel like the grip bar could be larger, and I'll talk about that more here in a second once I put the gloves on. The other big opportunity these gloves have is going to be the wrist support. So what you'll notice with these gloves is, again, they have a little bit more of a compact profile compared to other 16-ounce gloves. They're not ultra compact, but they're definitely not a larger glove. But you'll notice that the wrist support on both sides kind of softens up right here in the middle. And because of that, the glove tends to be top heavy. And you can see that it has a lot of flex right here in the wrist support. So this definitely, to me, is an area of opportunity that could be improved. And you can see it's like that pretty much on both gloves, where you have a lot of flex through this midsection. So to me, this needs to definitely be addressed in terms of the wrist support, because if you're gonna have it down here, it kind of defeats the purpose of having the wrist support in the area that you need it the most, which to me is right in here. It's not below this section of your hand. Like if your wrist support is right here and goes below, like that defeats the whole purpose of it, right? Like what's the point of it just having padding right here and below that, when really it's this area right here. Kind of this is the red zone, if you want to call it, that you really need to get that wrist support. Now, it doesn't have to be, like a piece of concrete where you can't have any flexibility, because you'd still want a little bit of flexibility and mobility in your hand when you're throwing your punches. But the majority of the padding and the way it should kind of lock in this area a little bit better. And in this case with these gloves, you can see that it's just really floppy in that section of the glove. So if I were to take anything away, it's going to be the floppiness of that wrist. And then obviously it's a little bit underweight. Now, in terms of being symmetrical, putting the gloves next to each other, both GT Boxing logos are pretty much in the center in the right spot. The gloves are the same height and the same width. And you can see that the pre-curved hand compartment is pretty much the same. The palm side you can see for yourself as well. Looks really good. And the shape of the thumb, as well as the size of the thumb, is pretty much the same. You can see from the knuckle view, looks really good. And from the opening on the bottom of the glove, all looks really good. So in terms of symmetry, the gloves pretty much mirror each other exactly, which is what you want to see. Even the GT Boxing logo and the American flag at the bottom is pretty much in the same spot on both gloves. So very well done there. Okay, next up is comfort, and slide the hand into the glove. Liner feels great. So the first thing you'll notice is that tricot liner, which is probably my preferred liner when it comes to most boxing gloves, is that this liner is very smooth. You don't have any type of excess material, on the top of your hand, around your knuckles, in the finger compartment. It all feels really nice and smooth and taut, right? There's some liners where you get some excess material, usually those satin liners, and this area can sometimes be a little annoying because you can kind of feel the wrinkles of the liner against your fingers and your knuckles, which kind of scoots around and swims in there when you have your hand into place. Wrist support feels really good. You can see the wrist opening at the bottom where my forearm is nice and tight. So the back of the wrist feels good, and the inner portion, again, I just feel like it just needs more support right here. The thumb, it feels good. It's not perfect. The issue I have with the thumb is not the positioning of the thumb in terms of this portion where it kind of comes up and is nice and parallel. The depth of the thumb is perfect as well. So when I make a fist, I don't feel like the tip jams down onto the tip of my thumb. The issue I have is the positioning of the piping. So I feel like the piping is too far out from the inner portion of where the laces are at. And by that I mean, let me give you guys a close up, is I feel like this needs to be pulled in a little bit further that way. And I feel like it's a little bit too far out. And what that causes is it feels like my thumb is almost, instead of being kind of like in a parallel position, I feel like it's kind of pulled out like that. Rather than it being kind of pulled in, I feel like it's slightly pulled out. And you can feel that this right here kind of pinches down on the thumb because of how pulled out that way it is. It's going outwards rather than going inwards. So I feel like right here is kind of the opportunity. And again, the depth of the thumb is perfect, and the actual position of the thumb is just where the piping is right here and how my thumb kind of flares out. And you have that on both gloves to where I feel like it just flares out just a little bit right here. And I feel like that could be definitely improved. But the depth and the position feels really good. Now, speaking of depth, is going to be the actual finger compartment. I feel like the finger compartment is pretty much perfect, nice and deep. You can see that it comes in a nice pre-curved position. So it takes relatively little effort for you to be able to put your hand in a perfect position. You can feel the grip bar, but I do wish that the grip bar was larger so I can really roll my hand onto it. You do also have a secondary grip bar, like a neoprene pad, which covers the stitching in the finger compartment, which feels really good as well. I do think it's a perfect width, so it's not too wide to where my fingers just kind of scoot around or swim inside the glove. And it's not too tight where I feel like I might get a blister from my fingers rubbing against each other. So that feels really good. And same thing with the material on the inside. It feels really soft and conforming to my hand. In terms of how soft and broken in the gloves are, these definitely take some time to break in. I'd say that they're about 50% broken in. That's about as far as you can go when you first get them. So the more you use these in training, whether it's hitting the bag, sparring with them, whatever you're doing in the gym, eventually this layered foam padding is going to soften up, and that's when you're going to have the flexibility to open and close your hand. But overall, a pretty comfortable glove with a couple of small little opportunities that I think if they can fix will make this glove even better. Protection and performance wise, this is definitely a balanced training glove in my opinion. The foam padding on here does a good job of absorbing shock. But it's not ultra stiff, nor is it too soft, obviously like a horsehair or a softer foam glove. So to me, this is the type of glove that you can really use for everything in the gym, sparring, hitting the bag, mitt work, whatever it may be, and get good use out of these gloves. Obviously, the opportunity is going to be the wrist support that can be improved. The padding on here, it's a good amount of feedback and pop while giving yourself a good amount of shock absorption as well, to where you can land shots with power and feel confident that you're not going to injure your hand. So that's probably one of my biggest highlights with this glove, is going to be this padding consistency. Firm enough for bag work, soft enough for those of you that like feedback, and protective enough for those of you that are going to use these gloves for sparring. So in terms of the padding, definitely like that. They perform very well. You get a nice flat punch surface where you can land on your two front knuckles. So overall, from a performance standpoint, I would say that these are right in the middle. These are pretty much the perfect training glove in terms of padding consistency. Cost-wise, these gloves are currently $200, which I think is a little bit high when it comes to pricing. And the only reason I say that is because there's a couple of small opportunities with this glove that I feel like can be improved. The leather on here is, again, kind of par for the course when it comes to some of the other Pakistan leathers I've seen in the past, and trust me, I've pretty much seen them all. The construction is really nice. Thumb positioning is good. They're very comfortable. Obviously, there's a little issue with the thumb, a little bit underweight. But outside of that, I think they're a very solid glove. I definitely think if they can fix like the wrist support issue, the floppiness of that, maybe the position of the thumb being pulled in a little bit more, I definitely think they would have a winner. I think, again, at the $200 price point, that's kind of a hard ask for me. Also considering that some of the other gloves on their website are more affordable than these. $125, there's some that are $150. So I think people might gravitate more towards those just because from a budget standpoint, they're a little bit less. Now, of course, if you're hung up in that Black Ops look, you really want that black and white, you can do so. It's completely up to you. It's your money. Spend it however you want. But I think that this is a glove that, to me, I would have loved to see like at the 150 range, like some of the other gloves. I think it would do really well at that price point. But with all the opportunities that it has, I feel like at 200, it's a little bit on the high side. But I can see where they're going with this glove. And to me, this is the type of glove that's almost there, right? Like if they fix a couple of the issues and improve it even more, then I think they would have a clear winner with these gloves. So if you guys have any questions or comments, you guys know what to do. Put them down below. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these GT Boxing Black Ops boxing gloves. I'll see you guys later. Peace.